me 3 hours to read through all those policies.
Well, you'll be closed later.
Mr. History. Want to do the golden
The one I like
hand out the golden horseshoes?
You got a new nickname.
Mr. History. That's what I got.
She called you
I do all the
Mr.
history stuff.
She called you Mr. History.
That was fair.
Live or dead.
But you know, somebody probably did. Some people.
I know. Other people could call you Mr. History. It's not so bad.
That's right.
He's been called worse, I'll bet.
God, this is fun.
We all have.
I got it about 3 times today.
I never got to there. I thought she used to send me
I might do
text.
this in this. Does anyone
I never
know
got to the end to see who it was. Like, oh, somebody's leaving. So,
No.
these states? I know. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no one knew. I'm gonna do it.
We know who he is, but if no one has a personal thing on it, then.
You can read that. Try to see where Colton is.
he's sick.
I know that.
What do you
Do you want it?
Sure.
You do now. You said it.
I thought you said, can you read
He's
that?
handing out.
He's
He's
talking
handing
about-
out the
Yeah.
awards, so we
I
can
thought
get
he
them
wanted to know
out.
if I could read it. I could.
Can you read?
I could read.
He's just handing out. So we have a whole lot. We need music.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do.
I come in early so I can have all this stuff together.
Yeah, I can just pass it down.
Still got 7 minutes. And I get the gavel, so I go as small as I want. That's it. 6. That's right. You want to get nobody starts with that?
Yeah, just your chin. The others will hit the deal.
It's a full house.
There's our handouts.
The high school teams are gonna wait until school go, and then they're gonna switch. Like to 5.
Yes. But I'd like for them all to be here for teacher and service person of the year.
Excuse me.
I'd like them all to be here for teacher of the year and service person.
They're first on the
How many's out there?
lacrosse team.
What is that?
Too many.
Track. Track.
Too many.
Yeah, there's like probably another 60 people.
Okay, I'm gonna do the service person of the year first while the kids are here, the younger kids. And then
They didn't bust us down at that other
the
building.
teacher.
They're never going to take the time to
wait
bust
a
us
second, where's
here.
the teachers from? They don't keep track of how many people we bring in. This is middle school. Both elementary. So it doesn't matter.
We could ask her to stay and do it twice.
Golden horseshoes. I'll go.
Ask them to stay and do it twice.
Who are those going to report to? Sandy?
Come on.
I mean,
Well, ideally, yeah, that's what
You know,
secondary people do.
Years ago, we used to have those.
Social studies and science.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And
we
then
can stick them back here.
we didn't.
Plenty of
Because
standing
of cups.
Yeah, sit them.
So
Like a
what's changed that we feel we need those now?
Because we don't have that, we've got the math and we've got the ELA, so then we've got the funds now to pay for it.
From-
out of the state.
You mean when you walk in the door? Oh, there's a conference room.
All right, wonderful.
At least for
This
now.
was supposed to be there. I'm just supposed to be back there.
That's what I'm asking. It's not even here.
How it got switched around. Our original approval was
What I'm missing.
for plan in this building. Because now it would just be slide open.
Unless he's out waiting with all those other people.
Unless he's out. Hold you off. Unless he's out. Right.
Is he waiting in the...
I know what it looks like. He's not here.
Well, we're wondering
He's
because
outside.
there's people out in the... Because there's not enough
be
room
back.
for all these teams and everything else.
Yeah, there's the soccer team. I mean, not the soccer.
There's
The
60 kids.
Girls look
He's going
lacrosse and 4x8 team, University High girls team.
Interesting if they all got moved.
Yes, he.
See what happens.
Still have softball next week.
first bunch, and then I think he was gonna go till we hit the
This is our first record attendance in
these
this
ones
building.
at the bottom. These ones
It's
are
very filled.
the teams, the
Ones are
sports teams.
I don't think we had it outside though.
Yes,
Well, maybe we have.
In the parking lot.
That's true.
Maybe after the board shoe winners, we say, okay.
You ready?
I would think.
What do you think, Ron?
Yep,
Is he listening? Is he here?
I roll. That's what I think.
Maybe after the golden horseshoe winners.
I got
we
it.
can say- Okay, no, then you can say, you guys can leave and then. Okay.
Bring on our new guys.
I'm going to call this meeting of the Monongalia County Board of Education to order. I'd ask for everyone to rise, and I'm going to ask a member of the Moon Monkeys, Terry Richards, to lead us in the pledge.
You started, we'll go
Ready?
from there.
Pledge allegiance. Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.
I want to be a moon monkey.
Jen wants to be a moon
I want to
monkey.
be a moon monkey. Sounds like fun. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to start our meeting tonight with a public hearing. And this public hearing is in relations to proposed budget fiscal year 2024-2025. Is there anyone in the room that wants to speak to the budget? Anyone in the room? Nicole, have we had any conversations about the budget? No input from the public. So, all right, Superintendent.
Mr. President, the superintendent recommends that the board adopt the proposed 2024-2025 budget as presented in your executive file this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jen wants to present the Moon Monkey Awards, Michael, so you're going to have to share those. Let's, anybody, the board, have any questions or comments on the proposed budget that's in your executive file?
My only question is, how are we going to let the families know that breakfast and lunch will be provided again next year for free?
You just did it.
Okay.
Okay, as we probably, communication through the schools?
Absolutely.
And as I said, as a board member, after the most recent election cycle and the immense amount of fire we got for budget, as if it was a negative thing that we didn't pay attention, we have a $209 million budget that we are going to approve if we get the vote, and we've had zero comment from the public. So is there any other comments? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of the proposed 2024-25 budget in your packet, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same? Well, now the fun part. Okay, tonight's awards, what we're going to do, we had to split this up. What we're going to do is do the middle school awards, and then once that happens, I'm going to excuse the middle school so the high schoolers can come in from the lobby area. Our first one, which is quite impressive, none of them are more impressive than this. It's the 2025 Monongalia County Schools Teacher of the Year Award, and it goes to Colton Goff, a physical education teacher at Mountain View Elementary.
There's a microphone right behind you if you want to grab
I
it.
decided I was going to give out. I pulled rank. So,
Hey, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
and if you want to say anything, is your principal here?
Yes.
Come on up. Say, when you guys talk into this thing, he asked me tonight, say, make sure you tell him not to eat the microphone. So it's just, he probably will need it, but. Yeah.
Well, it's for the
Yeah.
report.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah, so they can hear what you say. Oh, I got you. You don't have to worry about it. You talk. Just a lot to be thankful for tonight for this award. Many people to thank, and just immensely happy and just super proud to be, Teacher of the Year in Mon County. So it really does mean a lot. I'm actually from Preston County, but it doesn't matter where you teach. You give it your all, and that's what you do as a teacher, I feel like, too. So no matter where I was planning to be is going to be my all. So Mon County still gets it. Okay.
We just appreciate, Colton does a wonderful job. We see some Mountain View Bobcats, and I think we have very fortunate kiddos to have Mr. Goff as a gym teacher, so we appreciate him.
Do you have anyone with you that you'd like to introduce?
I do. I have my wife here tonight, Abigail Goff, and my son Calvin Goff was here tonight. Thanks for being here. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Our next award this evening is the 2025 Service Person of the Year. Tanya Kasich, and Ms. Kasich is an ECAT paraprofessional at Eastwood Elementary School. So please come forward.
Ms. Hartsworth is here. And so is her supervising teacher, Amber Nichols.
Hey.
Amber, could you come up, please, too?
So we told Tanya that she had to prepare a speech for tonight. But she knew we were just kidding because she wouldn't have come if we had. But I do want to say that Tanya has been in Eastwood Black Bear for 10 or 11 years. I'm not sure exactly how long. But I will tell you this, that she is a treasure to have at Eastwood Elementary. We have a thing at Eastwood that talks about the Eastwood Way. And Tanya is definitely the Eastwood Way, just the way that she exemplifies kindness and caring, understanding, but at the same time, she will have you follow the line, and she does it with love, though, and she's just been impactful to students for 10 or 11 years that I know they are carrying her love with them as they continue their educational experience, and it's a blessing to have Tanya at Eastwood, and we're very proud of her.
I just want to say that I'm so honored. I work in the best county with at the best school with the best administrators. I got to work with the Teacher of the Year. It doesn't get any better than that. And I love the kids. I love my job. I don't feel like I ever work a day. It's a joy to be there. Eastwood's such a family. They make everyone feel welcome. And I'm so honored and touched. And I'm losing this one because she's coming here to work. And so I'm very sad, but I'm excited for her and what the future has to hold for everyone. So thank you all so much. Oh, I should introduce my husband. I've got my husband with me, Andrew, and my daughter, Kennedy, who is also an art teacher. She just graduated from WVU. And Sydney is a nurse practitioner, both graduates of Morgantown High. And of course, Andrew's mom, Anna Mae. And I'm so honored and happy. Do you want to say anything?
Okay, our next award tonight is goes to Westwood Middle Cybotics team. About messed that one up.
That's robotics.
Wait, I'm going to read this. The board would like to recognize the Westwood Middle Cybotics team. At VEX VRC Middle School World Championships in Dallas, Texas, Cybotics faced 3 days of world-class competition from 490 teams from 73 nations. They finished the competition 5-5 and ranked 49th interdivision for match play and 110th of 490 in skills with a combined score of 221. The team sponsor is Holly Chapman, a 7th grade mathematics teacher at Westwood. Holly, please come up. And the students on the competition team, Carter Chapman, a 7th grader, Leo Grammer, a 7th grader, Kimber Blosser, a 7th grader, Braylon Shannon, 7th grader, and Cole Clodges, a 7th grader. So you guys got another year, right?
Yep.
I guess I should have just said all 7th graders. So. And we got.
You're getting out of it.
And the principal, John Conrad, probably has a couple words to say.
Thanks for honoring these group of fine young students and the sponsor as well. They work relentlessly over the school year, lots of hours after school that they do just because they love VEX Robotics. So they're doing lots of great things and just glad that they have a moment to shine here. So thank you, Ms. Chapman, and thank you to all the students, and thank you, board members, for recognizing them.
I couldn't be prouder of this group of kids. This is their second year together as a team for some of them. We added 2 new teammates this season, but they work their tails off. They started in July, and they've met at least twice a week, if not more than twice a week, all year long. They actually, on the plane ride back, are already planning for next year, so I can't wait to see how far they go next year.
Like you're in the plane seats that are smaller. Get a little closer.
Do us a favor, though. Smile. It was fun, right? Jen wants to be
I want to be a moon
a
monkey.
moon monkey, so I defer to her.
Yes, I had a pause in my thinking earlier. I got a note from one of the board members that says, "Can I present the moon monkeys?" So she distracted me in the middle of a thought. But anyhow, also from Westwood Middle School, we'd like to recognize Plant the Moon Challenge team, the Moon Monkeys. Plant the Moon is an opportunity for students to test experiments that provide information to NASA and future astronauts who visit the moon. The team won Best in Show for innovation for their watering technique used to grow plants in simulated moon soil. Lindsay Small coached the team and will represent West Virginia middle schools at the Spaceport Area Conference in Cape Canaveral, Florida this summer. So if we can have Lindsay Smalls come up. And the actual moon monkeys are all 6th graders: Will Bolliard, Lena Osborne, Jess Brown, Emmett White, Cam Carlberg, Terry Richards, Michael Hanlon, and Maddie Hall. Congratulations on your accomplishment.
Michael, congratulations. Thank you. Baby, give a clap.
Anybody want to say a few words?
name like Space Monkeys, you guys got to talk.
Okay, so the space monkey, the moon monkeys, they came up with this name on their own. I've done the Plant the Moon Challenge for 2 years now. Last year was a little challenging. It was new. We didn't know what to do. This kid right here Will came up with some idea about, watering in space, giving plants water in space. How are you going to efficiently do that with gravity, there being a lack of gravity? So he decided, he was like, Mrs. Smalls, can you buy syringes and piping, and we're going to water them from the bottom, and that's what we did. They all worked together, and they worked together really, really well. I'm so proud of them. We're missing a couple, one stuck in traffic, and a couple had other, yes, you can always say something. We have a couple others who had prior engagements for tonight, but I have their certificates for them, and here you go.
A challenge we had to overcome is that other teams, because our whole school, our whole 6th grade did the same challenge, and the other teams kept trying to take our syringes, and they broke a couple, and we had to hide them.
Pass it down. Everyone give us a little bit.
No, just thank you all for being so innovative, and that's certainly what we look for out of our warriors, to be innovative and creative and just blazing the path forward. So thank you all so much for this. Thank you, Mrs. Smalls.
Okay. Our last middle school presentation is the Golden Horseshoe winners for Monongalia County. And the Golden Horseshoe winners, as I say your name, please come forward. Ethan Landis from Mountaineer Middle School, Parker Smith from Mountaineer Middle School, Tessa Abildzo from South Middle School, Avery Garvin from South Middle School, Henry Palfrey from South Middle School, Ryan Belisario from South Middle School, and Jackson Howe from South Middle School.
Sandy's here.
Let's see it.
I did not see her. All right, scrunch it in.
Mike's here too.
That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, who wants to go? Somebody give us one good fact about West Virginia.
Oh, come on, you guys have tons.
Come on, come on.
They used to ask us questions.
Anything that you learned out there.
Use the mic that's right behind you.
Hey guys,
Grab paper and grab.
take number 13.
There were 2 brothers, John and Samuel Pringle, and they lived in a tree.
Because why? Why did they live in a tree? They deserted what? Oh, don't look like you're shocked. We learned about this.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The largest teapot in West Virginia, in the world is in Chester.
Where's this from?
11 counties in West Virginia end in the letter R. Remember that one from the Golden Horseshoe test.
They must have been scraping the bottom.
I didn't study that one.
The rich part of our state.
That's yeah, it is.
Anybody else?
Goodness.
So you guys want to share? Fact, do you remember?
All right.
There you go. We're going to give it a
Well, I'm telling you that these guys usually put me to shame, and I've lived in Monongalia County, not alone West Virginia, for 42 years now, so I'm sure they know more facts about West Virginia than myself. They are very hard workers. I know the ones from South, and I'm sure Mountaineer Middle, and we're extremely proud of their accomplishments. Congratulations, guys.
I'm not sure about Mountaineer. Were you both on the History Bowl team? Okay, so 4 of the 7 kids, no, I'm sorry, let me take that back. 5 of the 7 kids who won Golden Horseshoes this year were on History Bowl teams that competed at the state competition. Parker's team made it to the states as well, and these 2 teams from South made it, and they placed 3rd and 4th at the state competition, and they were the only school in the state to have 2 teams in the top 5 schools. And so they did a phenomenal job, and we're really, really proud of them. They've worked really, really hard this year, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Thank you. Good job, guys. I'm really proud.
Nancy Walker always has a question for the
No, I'm gonna leave him alone.
She didn't have a question.
I'm gonna leave him alone.
I'll give you guys a fact about a tree stand. There's a very prominent physician that lives in Monongalia County that lives in a tree. And that's the truth.
Is the question?
That was a statement, so you guys
Did they have to figure out who it is?
Yes, if you guys figure out who that is, they lived in a very nice house in South Park, and now they live in a tree. And they're a physician, and they taught at the med school. So
I have a question for you.
there's one for you.
What's Wheeling, West Virginia, in the pathway west? What was Wheeling famous for? Nails. Good girl. Yeah, we've asked.
She nailed that one.
You nailed that one. Yeah.
Oh,
Good
come
job.
on.
That's a dad joke.
They used to go west with those, and they built their cabins on the way west. And then when they were done, like the winter, they'd burn the cabins down, take the nails with them. So she got it. Good job.
Well, thank you guys for your hard
Yes,
work.
thank
Keep pushing. Okay, now it's time for the massive shift. Where you guys all get to go home, get ready for the last day of school. Enjoy your summer, everybody.
Congratulations.
You earned it. You earned the honor. We're gonna need a
clear room, Mr. Lyons.
I'm gonna have to fill it back up too.
Yeah.
You know about You know who it is. I'm telling you, Mike.
I don't know who it is. Nothing would surprise me.
How about that?
There's inherent issues with that, as you well know.
Oh yeah.
Hey, can I have my notepad back?
Huh?
Can I have my notepad back, please?
In case you need to write something else.
In case I need to send more notes.
It's fine so far.
Great job. Proud of you.
Thank
Good work, Colton. Good to see you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
He's even got things in his backpack like kids' names.
Congratulations.
He comes back every year.
Yeah.
He's got somebody every year. Let me tell you.
We're not giving them individual certificates, they're just getting one, so. I'm shuffling right now, just give me a second.
It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, there's too many awards tonight. Track. You got those? And I think we're ready. All right, thank you guys for patience. Starting off this recognition in this group, when I get back to it, tonight we'd like to recognize National Merit Scholar Andrew Kisner from University High School. National Merit Scholarship winners are selected based on their academic record, difficulty of subject matter, scores on their preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test, essays, and recommendation from school officials. Congratulations, Andrew. And Kim, you want to come up with?
Yes, Kim.
Oh yeah, thank you all so much. I'm honored to be up here. I've worked under some incredible teachers, some incredible faculty at UHS. I'm looking forward to the faculty and staff at UHS, at WVU, where I'll be studying mathematics.
We are very proud of Andrew. He's the best of the best. He's a role model for our other students, and we can't say enough good things about him. So congratulations, Andrew.
Get a picture.
Andrew, I think you nailed it when you said with the teachers, because you work with the teachers. That's exactly how we deliver instruction best. So, thank you. Okay. Our next recognition is UHS Girls Lacrosse State Champs. The coaches are Scott Stewart, Frankie Roberts, Paige Gabriel, and Morgan Nichols. And if I could call the whole entire team and the coaches up to get the award. Say about?
Nah. No, I mean it's been a fun ride. These girls are amazing. You know, first year head coach, I might as well just quit while I'm ahead. But no, I mean they worked hard all year. They work in the off season. We have our ups and downs, but truly it's a great group of girls to work with. So thank you all.
Mr. Bailey, you have anything from the side to say?
Well, he's right. They just worked their tail ends off, and Actually, the funniest story is the way that they won the state championship this year. Someone saw, I think he's here, saw a picture of me in the background, and I was supposed to be filming the winning game. I got so excited, my phone went flying through the air, and I missed the whole thing. Pleasure to watch, and they really came through at the end of the season and won a huge championship game against Fairmont Senior, and could not be more proud of these young ladies.
Mrs. Green? Just what Mr. Bailey, this was a triple overtime victory, correct?
It was.
All right, I think that needs to be said. That needs to be said. Triple overtime victory. Congratulations, girls. Mrs. Green?
Yes, you definitely couldn't get any more exciting than their last game. I mean, it was just fun to watch, and we all enjoyed it. And we look forward to what they're going to do next year, too.
Thank you. Okay, our next presentation is UHS State Track Team winners. And we have the UHS, University High School AAA State Championship 4x8 relay teams here with us. The girls team is Haley Kramer, Abigail Rogers, Helen Honecker, Adeline Tager, and Carolyn Ballard. Sorry about those names. And the boys teams, we'll just bring y'all up.
Do the girls first.
Oh, you want to do them half and half? Okay.
Do the girls first. They brought their medals.
Medals and everything.
Coach?
Carolyn Ballard in here, she's on the college here.
Come on up, Coach. You got to be with them, too.
Priorities.
Coach Fronapple, any of your other assistants with you? Oh, yeah, here they are. Okay. Okay. Didn't know who was here.
Scary neighborhood. Nancy. They yelled at me already about that.
He's a girls coach, you can talk about girls coaching.
I just want to say how proud I am of these girls. They've worked so hard. A couple of them are graduating seniors, so they're going on to bigger and better things. And Addie down there and Abby, they're going to be trucking it out with us at cross-country season. We're going to start practice here in a couple weeks. So we're really proud of these girls. Awesome group of girls to work with.
Mr. Bailey?
As I've said about our cross-country teams and now our track and field teams, it is a 365-day-a-year job for them, and they train all year. There's a reason why they win state championships. Their dedication year-round, and that's why they win. You're special.
Mrs. Green?
We are fantastic, not just athletes, but also scholars. We're very proud of them, too.
Thank you. Okay. All right, now we move on to the boys 4x800 teammates are Ethan Conroy, Jacob West, Tyler Umbright. Somebody's time to get up. Drew Zundell and Logan Conroy. I'm sorry. See, I was organized almost.
Congratulations. Jacob West.
Drew had to work. Get out, so.
Congratulations, we're really proud of you. Let's just speak.
He's the boys coach.
To congratulate the boys for the state championship. I think this is fourth year in a row for the 4x8. We've won state championship of it. Different group of guys every year, but they actually set the state meet record this year, broke the old record by like 2 seconds, something. And I'd actually like to commend the girls team because they were 0.16 off of breaking the meet record down there, so they were really close. But great group of guys, worked hard all year, all cross-country runners too, so they see a lot of each other. So anyway, thank you.
I'm going to call on Mr. Bailey and Mrs. Green one more time to give them an opportunity.
Just like the girls, they work all year round, and you know, with the girls and the guys, people don't realize the time and dedication that our two track coaches, who also coach cross country together, put into this. Another reason why we're so successful is our coaching staff and these great athletes. And again, the season's over and they're already training again for next year. There's no rest for the weary, for sure. They work hard.
And they are dedicated, not just track, cross country, and again, education also. We just had to submit some GPAs for the OBAC. Our athletes average 3.92 was their GPA, so that's very impressive. Wow.
That's the best news.
Okay, our next presentation is for Lila Byers, who is the state tennis champion. State champion Lila Byers of University High School won the AAA girls tennis singles title for the second consecutive year. And Lila's coaches, Tom McClellan, Jeff Minshow, and Justin Byers.
It was a great season. I had a lot of fun with my team. We also got runner-up as a team this year, and yeah, it was a lot of hard work, and back at it next year. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Lila, am I correct? You're a sophomore, right?
Junior.
Oh, you're a junior.
Yep.
All right, so you got one more in you?
Yep.
Okay.
We could push her back a year.
Probably like to.
Okay, our next presentation is for Maddie Gump, the individual track state champ in the 3200.
Slow down, Maddie, I can't catch you.
And her coach is Stephen Blinko, and I have not seen Mr. Blinko.
Yeah.
Okay, the Morgan County principal's here.
Since you're so fast, talk slow.
Okay. This state championship was definitely a blessing. It couldn't have happened without my coaches and teammates, and our team did get the runner-up at the state meet, so that was awesome. Yeah, it's definitely been a rocky season with injuries, so I was just happy that my team was able to pull off that second place, and I was able to pull this championship off. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, that is the end of our awards, so unless you guys want to stick around for an exciting Board of Education meeting, you guys can all run.
We'll see how fast they really are.
Yeah.
They can really move.
Yeah.
Everybody gains a couple seconds.
board's discussion and follow-up action.
We're going to start tonight with a presentation about our middle school cell phone guidelines that we implemented countywide this year. In fact, this has been a topic that we've actually discussed with my parent group as well. They were very interested in our guidelines and how that went this year, so we wanted to share that with the board as well. And I'm going to have our deputy superintendent kind of do a brief introduction for you, and then we'll get into it with our middle school principals. So.
Good. Thank you. We really appreciate having this opportunity to share some really important news. And I'd like to take credit for this, but I'm going to give the credit to our middle school principals, particularly in this instance, Mrs. Hicks and Mrs. Brown. This time last year, we were doing evaluations. I was doing evaluations. Both of those ladies had done their homework and brought some research and conversation to me that was very impactful. It's something we have talked about for quite some time, but I know I certainly didn't feel confident with the information. I now feel 110% confident, and this evening they're here because they live this every day. But I do want to share one slide that I believe we have for a few highlights for what has occurred. Now, I'm going to give you a quick backstory, and I know you see this as much as I do, but it's very prominent now in the national news media as well as local news media, focusing on what action is occurring at the state levels. Ohio now is advancing a bill for the entire state about keeping cell phones out of the classrooms. And I can name New York, I can name Pennsylvania, I can name several states that are all following the same path. And what has occurred is the fact that the mental health has been so impacted by the distractions that we encounter in social media. And sadly, that comes from the fact that everybody has a device, and it's a smartphone device. Now, again, if it were just one of the original phones where you could make a phone call, we wouldn't be having this conversation necessarily. Again, what we have seen this year is what you see on the screen. The opportunity to have an increase on the focus on the academics throughout the day. For me, the most important piece is what we have seen in that our students have reported the opportunity to have better engagement with their fellow students. They are not looking at a phone or communicating by text. They are communicating face to face. They're having more positive interactions throughout the day. And for me, that is probably the most important piece of what we have listed here. We have seen an increase in their benchmark scores in the academics through the iReady. What this also does is, without some of the things that occur on social media, we have seen a decrease in any reports of harassment, bullying, or outright fighting, frankly, in the schools. And obviously, without access to these phones and devices, the sharing of inappropriate pictures, which does go on and did go on, no longer can happen. No one can airdrop a photo into the cafeteria and disrupt the entire lunch period, which we have dealt with in prior years. So again, to wrap this up from my point of view, the overall improvement in student mental health, which is borne out with pages and pages of research and statistics that would support this. But again, credit goes to all of the principals, particularly those ones sitting here this evening. They embraced this and dealt with it, and not without some difficulty, I may add, because there are individuals that believe that the students should have that phone with them all during the day. Now, we have a process, and I want to acknowledge Sandy DeVault here. She is working on something we will be bringing to you that is used nationwide. I'm not going to name the company because until we choose a company and bring that recommendation to you, we have used our own methods of keeping the cell phones away from the students during the day. And I want the principals to talk a little bit about that. But there are ways, and you probably have seen them if you've been to a Pirates game, if you've been to a concert, if you've been to any big events. There are many events that do not permit you to have the device with you for many, many reasons. But our schools, particularly our youth, are subjected to overstimulation with things that are so inappropriate in social media. And we need that not to be something that occurs with our young people. So I want to acknowledge our principals here again this evening and turn this over to them. Again, they brought the research to the table. They were able to convince me quite easily because they had, as I said, done their homework and presented very good information, and then did the work at their schools to talk with their students, to talk with their parents. And some of those conversations were difficult, and they had the answers, however. So we have seen this be a very successful pilot year for this. Tonight is just for information. We're not asking for any action from the board, but I think as the board, you need to understand the importance of what you're dealing with in our schools and what our school system is and what our school administration is. So at this time, I'd like to turn this over to all four of the administrators that are here. So I'd like to entertain any questions that you have for them. They're far better prepared to speak to it. Oh, yes, they do. They need to come, thank you, to the podium. So if we could do that, please, all four, and then take a turn, if you would, please.
If they'd be more comfortable, they could sit down here and take 13.
They could.
Would you rather do that?
We need the camera.
Oh, okay.
Danny's got the cameras lined up, so
Yeah.
I can do it.
It's all right.
We're good.
We're good.
They're good.
I guess I'll open up by saying, do you have questions that might lead me into explaining how I particularly started it at Suncrest Middle? Any questions regarding anything specific?
Was there any medical emergencies because a kid didn't have their cell phone?
What we do have, Mr. Lytle, are individuals that have diabetic needs, and they are permitted to carry the phone device that is equipped to alert the nurse. So they were exempt from that process as long as they were not accessing internet.
That was the only question we had
Yes.
the entire time.
Yeah, we do a health exemption for them. The teachers know ahead of time. The health nurse lets all of the individuals know in that school building what exactly is supposed to happen with that cell phone and at what time.
That was the only question I had
Okay.
at all. Not from me, to me.
So where do the students keep their phones? Because I would imagine many of them still bring them to school. So are they in the
Correct.
locker?
So,
lock them up?
as a result of some of the research that I personally did, I built that into the master schedule. So they would have time before school to deposit it. I use a cell phone box that's made of alloy, so it's very portable and light for teachers to take with them in case of emergency. So once they enter the building, they go to Discovery, they deposit the phone in a slot that's numbered for them specifically. Then at the end of the day, they go back to that Discovery and they obtain it from the same number that they had at the beginning of the day. If you arrive to school late, we have an alloy box in the main office there. Once you sign in, we assign you that number. At the end of that Discovery, you come and pick yours up from the office. We've had 0 issues with that.
Do the teachers have cell phones?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do the teachers have cell phones? So is there a cell phone in the room
Correct. So, in
For
addition to
emergency.
what we did with the cell phone ban, is we also, with myself and Officer Kraus, we kind of bolstered our emergency crisis response plan, and we've practiced it not only with the walkie-talkies that are equipped throughout the building, but also with the GroupMe and the cell phone. So they will get an emergency notification from me, as well as the walkie-talkie. And we've drilled that probably 10 times this year. And I think the most beneficial part of that is the trust that it began to instill with the parents, that you don't need to hear from your child, you need to hear from the adult that's in the emergency at the time, so you're getting the most adequate and consistent information from the administration and the police officer.
Do you have kids that try to sneak them in anyway?
We have had one instance in September, and once we found out that it was in the locker. I did not have to do anything. The parents said, Mrs. Hicks, you will not see this back at your school building for the rest of the year. Because the parents are relieved that someone else is telling them that they can't have the cell phone, even though I have ardently encouraged parents to understand that your child is not old enough to enter into the cell phone policy or to the cell phone contract, so why would you give them the device when they're not old enough to do it themselves? And I also explained to the faculty and the staff and the parents at a meeting that we are right now mandated to do SEL lessons, social emotional learning, which when I first started teaching in '97, it was character education. It's now matriculated into SEL. So everything that we're teaching children to be and to learn productive citizens, you put this device in their hand, and it completely contradicts everything that we're teaching them about drugs and alcohol and your personal being and your safety. This has everything included, and we put it in a 12-year-old's hand, and we expect them to listen to our lessons, and it's just contradicting everything that the educators are encouraging our children to do and to be better people. I can tell you I've had zero discipline in regards to anything related to this cell phone. Zero. Officer Kraus showed me all his data. Anything that has happened at home. And I will tell you it does encourage the parents to be the first responders at that time, to take possession of the phone that they have purchased under their name, to bring it into the school and to show us the data. And then at that point, Officer Kraus or myself advise them on what to do if it kind of is out of our jurisdiction at that time. The only caveat, if that matriculates into the school environment and causes a disruption of the peaceful assembly, then we can certainly take action on that piece. But anything that folds over into the harassment side, the sexting side, is a police matter, and we wash our hands of it and get back to the business at hand, which is educating. That is what we are intended to be, is education. And the time that this has taken away from administrators doing their job has been unsurmountable for me personally. And I am relieved to tell you, I don't have that problem anymore. Maybe you need to hear from someone else. I think I've
Well, I was just going to ask,
monopolized the time.
what was the first week like? Because that would be the
Right.
withdrawals,
Well,
the shakes or
thank-
whatever. I mean,
yeah,
some of these
thank
kids.
you for that
and
question, Mr. Berry.
I am
It's
kind of
true.
tongue in cheek here, but it's just,
Because we did some proactive measures on the front end, we front loaded this. So the kids knew it was coming, the parents knew it was coming. We were able to kind of problem solve that first week. The only thing that I had going on probably is a couple of nervous parents saying, I want instant access to my child. Well, you do have instant access to your child. You come in, you call them down, you meet them in the nurse's station, and it's rebuilding the trust with the adults in the building. We are in loci parenti, so let us be in that position for you. And it's starting to rebuild the trust in the education system. And it's been because this has been a huge diversion, and it's caused a lot of mistrust between teachers, principals, and the parents. So when you remove that tool, and the narrative that the children are giving to their parents prior to us even speaking with the parent is now gone, and we're having extremely intelligent, good conversations with parents, and they're relieved that it's gone. We've been thanked, and some of our children have come to me and said, Thank you so much for doing this. I don't have to worry about checking my phone during the day to see who's texting or Snapchatting, or does someone have a picture of me. We don't have any of that. No SIB, no mental health. SIB is, when you're injuring yourself. We've had nothing like that.
My favorite one on that page is the last one. I think that is going to
Yes.
speak volumes
Yes.
as they go through life. They get over
Yes.
this part of it, they can realize they can handle.
Yes, the
things that they didn't
developmental
think they
age of putting something this valuable and intrusive into a developing mind's hands, you're asking for trouble, and we're living it right now.
I mean, it's like giving them a cigarette.
Correct.
I mean,
So everything we're teaching, we are absolutely turning it around and contradicting everything that we're teaching by handing them a phone.
I mean, you go out in public and just look at how many adults are driving, walking.
Correct.
I mean, all of a sudden, this is going to be part of the human anatomy. Your arm's just going to be stuck right there.
Yeah, there is an addictive property to it, you're correct.
I think
Yes.
personally it's huge, and I think that is going, because a lot of our problems later in life is
That's
the
correct.
emotional mental health side of it. And I mean, if you just, people get behind keyboards and they just go crazy,
Yes.
and I think we can get them away from that, and I think this is a great start. Get them while they're young, so they're
Thank
not
you.
addicted to it by the time they get to that point.
We did have one emergency situation at Suncrest regarding pepper spray in the annex. That was right at the beginning of the school year. And working at Morgantown High and then working at Suncrest, of course, I'm immediately on guard for the flood of parents and all the false information. But then I forgot, wait a minute, no one has their cell phones except for the adults. So we didn't have parents showing up. We had emergency medical facilities set up. Everything was so seamless, and everyone could get into the kids, treat the kids. We did not have to worry about all that extra incendiary behavior from the adults getting false information. And that in September was my aha moment, when I didn't have to deal with all of that other stuff. I could just deal with the kids, the central office, the fire chief. When I could just do my job and do it effectively, it was no problem. No problem. We're very well trained in Mon County to handle emergencies, and we drill our kids all the time. I will say one more thing, and I'll be quiet. When you look at FBI, when you look at anything that has to do with security administration, they will tell you that having a cell phone in your hand as a child in the emergency is going to do nothing but slow you down and take your attention off what you're supposed to be doing. In case of an intruder, you're supposed to be fighting or countering, you're supposed to be barricading, or you're supposed to be running. You're not supposed to be calling someone on a telephone. The adults will handle that. The last drill that we ran was beautifully executed because no one had their cell phone but the adult. And when some did flee the building, they had the alloy box and the bright yellow emergency backpack, and we were ready to go. And the kids felt confident. They're like, okay, we can do this in case of an emergency. We're trained.
I like what you said about passing any of the issues that happen at home on the phone off to the police, because I feel like that's where I remember spending the exorbitant amount of time.
Yes.
Is playing that go-between or having the police come in. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Dawn did a really good job at explaining and talking about a lot of the advantages that she's seen in Suncrest, and to be honest, very much similar things at South. But the way that we went about it is slightly different. Actually, I was very envious of Dawn when she did decide to use the little lockers, and she was very willing to let us try one and let us use it. And for her, it worked really well for her school. For the size of my school, I wasn't sure. And in regards to the sturdiness of the box and so forth, I had to go with my initial plan. And when I had met with my teachers, that was the number one thing that we had discussed at the end of the year prior to the next year starting, which is this year. And it was in the distractions that they were experiencing when they were trying to teach, and in regards to the behavioral issues that were arising, and in regards to lack of respect, bottom line. Not following the expectations set and not following classroom rules. Anytime you talk about a cell phone policy or a cell phone change, it is not easy, and especially not when you're looking at almost 780 students. I have to say that I was quite surprised at, I got less pushback from students as I did parents. And, you know, when you're coming off of COVID anyway, we had so many things that we're dealing with a lot of the social and emotional things going on, the lack of ability to be able to communicate, you know, finding time to be able to have real instruction, in that, not that we didn't have instruction, but face-to-face instruction, and making that a priority. Having the cell phones, you know, even coming back from COVID because of all the use of technology, even teachers at times would have them pull them out, utilize them for activities and so forth. Started out okay, but as the year went on and students began to use the cell phones for other reasons, it just became overwhelming. And I have to say that, like Dawn, I have not dealt with cell phone issues occurring at the school. Any kind of anything with bullying, harassment, or anything like that. Have I had parents reach out asking for assistance, sharing something they've seen that on their child's phone in the evening? You can test, you can find out by the time, offering suggestions on what they can do, how can we help, you know, which is, we're limited in regards. Unless they bring that phone and are willing to show us what's on it, you know, it's not my property. We can't just get into a child's phone and say, here, I need to see it, I'm looking for all these things. I can't react like that. So that resistance from parents may have lasted that first 2-3 weeks within August, beginning of September. And once we continue to build that relationship, letting them know that they do have access to being able to talk to their child when needed, that we do have students that need them for specific purposes, such as being a diabetic, but we have so many more students that have some anxiety issues, that sometimes that separation from home that came after COVID is a lot for students, and they became dependent on having to be able to communicate with their parents regularly. Well, that's why we have 504 plans and SAT plans in place, and that we were able to accommodate according to certain circumstances that did arise in which a child would need a cell phone. Whether that's certain timing of the day, they'd come down to the office, that we'd find a way for them to contact a parent or to reach out just to touch base so that they're able to say hello, tell them that they're okay. Or if they needed it for a medical reason, and certain times, again, that they're able to go and utilize that phone, go to the nurse, whatever the issue was, we found ways to accommodate students that still had needs. I have to laugh that our 6th graders coming in, it was kind of a piece of cake. They were really good. You tell them anything and they're going to do what they want to do. They're in the middle school, they want to follow rules, they want to, please. And so it was a lot easier with our 6th graders, and to believe it or not, our 7th graders. But we have really strong teachers that really, once they set a rule, that rule stays. And then they're just going to continue to reinforce it and set those expectations and follow it. 8th grade was a little bit tough because those students have had phones in their possession for 2 years. And so I wish I could say that it was as easy. But all of our students were asked to keep their phones in their lockers. And that, there were certain circumstances, or if they abused that right, then there were other things that had to happen. If they had it in class and a teacher had seen the phone out or it was beginning to be disruptive, then the phone's taken till the end of the class, then that child and the teacher walks the phone back to the locker. If that phone is, again, out and found, then that phone then came to the office area and then remained there till the end of the day, and then that parent contact is made, in which they come in and we set up a meeting and we figure out what's the problem in regards to why that child can't follow the rule that the school has. Really have not had to deal with a lot of those, but I'm not going to body search a child right now in regards to seeing if they had the cell phone on them. If they did, they didn't bring them out. And they weren't, a teacher didn't see it on them, or they weren't utilizing it, and I wasn't dealing with any behavioral issues from it. No more with pictures taken where it shouldn't be. There were students in bathrooms that just put the picture, the phone over them just to take pictures to think it's funny, and then you have to deal with all of that. It just saved a lot, and that was in all grades. As to what also added a little bit of a issue with cell phones in lockers for our 8th graders. Our 8th graders hadn't used lockers. So when they came back from COVID, you know, we were still in that safe mode and keeping everything safe. They didn't even know how to really use their locks, and they preferred not to use a locker. They didn't need anything but their Chromebooks, and so that's where you got into some of that with where were they going to keep their phones, and you tried to teach them how to use the lock, but with the timing and the bells and everything, it was too much all at once in regards to our 8th graders, and we had to understand that. But the expectation didn't change. They can't have it out. They can't be using it during the school day. And if there was an emergency or a necessary need for it, there were accommodations made for that. And we did that legally through some of our, you know, like I said, our SATs or 504s for that. But I've been very pleased in regards to what the change had started to be for this year. I look forward to next year, but you do know that, I mean, I do know that as students get older, they get braver, and as they get more comfortable in knowing a rule, they're going to try to find ways around it. I think that my biggest obstacle, and if I could find something for students, is if they had some way to have something where they can still have it on them, but so that it's protected so that they can't be tempted to use it, or even the distractions that they're able to get to it very easily. Now, I think Dawn keeps watches in your cases, I heard?
Anything that's connected.
Okay. And I just haven't had an issue with the smart watches. And it's a little bit harder to actually type or like get it out and use without it being more noticed. And so we definitely haven't had it with our younger groups of 6th and 7th, and I tell you, I haven't even had ever a watch laying on my desk. And even if I had a phone, had to come into the office area, that's minimal. I would say under maybe 5, and it's always the same 5. And then the result is those 5 parents insist that I can't make a rule. That's their property. They don't have to listen to what the school, you know, wants to do or feels that is in the best interest of their child. And they'll look straight at their child and tell them, you don't have to listen to them. So it makes it very difficult when you're dealing with those things. And so, but like I said, that's those ones that have had it ever since, who knows? Because with parents working back during COVID, that may be the only way they were alone.
Maybe they'll change their mind if you inconvenience them enough times. They have to come in to get it.
Yes, and then it's,
They'll
but
get
you
tired
know
of
what,
that.
they'll make it inconvenience, like, I can't get there till 5 o'clock. Well, I'm
Okay,
sorry,
guess you'll
I'm
get it
only here
tomorrow.
till. You can come in first thing in the morning or whatever, but.
That'll be a fun night at home.
But then you worry, because a lot of those kids, they need it for home. And so that may be their only means of communication, because they may go home to a home that their parents work until midnight or 1 o'clock. So there's never an easy answer, but in regards to us moving forward and what our purpose is, and that's educating students, this has been the best thing in regards to eliminating the distractions and holding kids accountable that, yes, there are rules, and if my students have rules, we do enforce our teachers not to be using the phones too. You know, it's not okay for you to always be visibly using a phone when you know the students can't. So there are many times, even in the cafeteria or something, that I know I have to take a call or there's something and I'm hiding in a closet so that I'm not out there just using it or whatever, because I do believe that we have to model what we want and what we expect. And so I've been very pleased in regards to the success that we've had, and I only look for it to get better. It's just that, you know, with the amount of anxiety that's out there with students, and it's a real thing, anything that we can do to help kind of the best of all worlds, if for some, you know, even it has to be having that in a way they can't use it, but it's still with them. And is something that I'd like to continue to look at as we move forward. Other than that, I don't know how it's going at your schools. So.
It sounds like we're very similar to South. I'll give a huge shout out to my staff and to my leadership team. I can't take claim. They had a great procedure in place before I came to Mountaineer Middle. It did scare me a little bit when other middle schools were allowed to have them on my first year there, because you are that person, you are the administrator that has to enforce it. It sounds like we're pretty similar to South. We did get a box from Mrs. Hicks. We call that kind of like the phone prison. And it's in the office, so after you get to if you get your phone confiscated, like if I'm walking through and I see your phone out, we'll take it, or Dr. Potts will take it. Teachers also, if you have your phone out, we put our phones in our lockers. That is hard to monitor sometimes, and I'm not going to go through and search every kid to make sure that their phone is in their locker. If they're out using it, we have a three policy thing. Like if you first offense is pretty much take the phone. Not a whole lot. Second offense, it goes to the phone prison. You got to turn it in for a little while. Third offense, well, we have a list, and our list is about 20 some that go to the phone prison because academics are first at all of our schools, and if they have a phone, it totally messes everything up. Nancy, probably about 90% of the kids come with phones, and one thing we did see is as we were putting phones in our phone box, kids come up with a second phone. So that's something that you didn't think of, but it actually does happen sometimes. But it's been very beneficial to actually have no cell phones during school usage. That's only 6 hours we're asking, 6.5. So they have their whole night to go ahead and do whatever they do on social media. If parents are listening, if you're listening to me, I think all of us would agree social media is probably not the right thing for middle school kids. It's probably not the best thing for high school kids. So Snapchat, parents, no
Or
go.
adults.
Instagram, no go. And it's probably not good for adults either. So thank you. Any questions?
I do have to say that, I don't know that we all talked about cell phones starting out for this year. But it was interesting that we each put in place something because we were all experiencing very similar things within the middle school level. So.
Yeah, so at Westwood, much smaller school than my colleagues here. We have had some issues like they mentioned before. And one of the places that we were allowing cell phones before was in the cafeteria, just going by policy and trying to, preach, proper use and all that, but it wasn't working. So, again, like what Ms. Brown was just saying, we decided as a leadership team that this year, no, you're not going to have it in the cafeteria. We weren't going to allow it. And so definitely saw, these bullet points are very accurate with that, and definitely saw a decrease in our discipline regarding social media, especially just with the random pictures that sometimes students take of others, of adults. So it definitely cracks down on that. Now, we at Westwood didn't go into the school year, with the no cell phone policy in mind. So, we were slowly building that foundation for that for next year. So definitely looking forward to it. But we do have a cell phone policy in place, very much like Mr. Rogers was saying. The first time it stays with the teacher, then they get it back, and then second time, it would be to the office, and they get it at the end of the day, and then the third time, the parent have to come and get it. And I don't remember myself having to have a parent come and get the phone. So again, a little bit different situation, but next year we definitely want to move towards, at the very least, cell phones in the locker, or if we're able to have some other devices to help with that, that would be my preference at this point. But definitely looking forward to the added benefits that Mrs. Hicks led off with, and kudos to her and her staff for setting that precedent, because I really look forward to those days that she's experiencing this year. So.
The kids are getting better at using landlines.
Yeah.
911 call this week, right? Because when you push 9, you have to push 9. You push it again real fast, and it's 911. That's Chris. And I'll let everybody in the office know.
Well, and that's funny because I had somebody, a student had to reach home, and then you come in, and I went out to the office, did a loop around the building, came back, and there she is, laying on the floor, feet up on the window, talking to her parents because she was having a meltdown. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't realize they felt so comfortable coming in to utilize a phone that wasn't right on them. It was just the idea they had to talk to their parent, I guess. I don't know. But no more lunches brought in, no more Starbucks, no more anything like that, because they can't tell them about it.
Mrs. Brown, I would suggest tomorrow when you go back, check the closets, because you probably gave them a good idea.
Probably.
Like they're really listening to this.
So are there any,
I forgot where.
I do know, like in the work setting, you use it for different mathematical things, other things. Is there anything that cell phone can do that a Chromebook can't do?
Everything.
So there's absolutely no excuse whatsoever, other than maybe, as you said, the health monitoring or something that's in a 504 or IEP or something.
Yeah, with the
But
proper
even
planning, the teachers can make their lessons happen as long as they're planning for it. It's just so easy to say, hey, bring your phone in. And with more stringent policy in place, the teachers just have to plan better.
And really, even a parent can email a student. And an email, they're able to check. So if they absolutely had to get a hold of a child for some reason.
So there's a lot of other communication tools and other tools that everybody was just relying on the phone. And because I've had many high school teachers tell me that the parents will call in the middle of class knowing that their students are in a classroom supposed to be learning, and their phone's ringing and it's mom and dad saying something about something, and it was very distracting to everyone.
And it happens. Even in middle, it was happening.
So we don't worry about elementary students bringing phones.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
And
I
so
thought that
we
was
are,
happening.
I didn't worry about it till I had those issues this year. So we are full speed ahead, and thanks to the leadership from these middle school administrators and their staff teams, we feel very confident. But we have had some issues this year, so our elementary principals are very much interested in ensuring their children don't have this distraction. And in talking more with the high school principals, they're very invested about us moving forward at that level. And again, to help set the boundaries here and make sure everyone has the support. Ms. DeVault has been doing a lot of research, and we will be bringing to you a recommendation for a way to have, I hadn't heard it referred to as cell phone prison, but yes, a way to secure the phones, which you see out in the public a lot, and a way to secure them for the day and be able to maintain them till the end of the day or needed for some other purpose. But you'll see that coming forward, and
So it'll be a policy or just procedure?
it is just a procedure. I'm not asking for a policy at this time.
Hey, I was a little confused, Mr. Conrad, when you said teachers have to plan better. I was kind of in a fog there. What do you mean with kids bringing cell phones to class?
Yeah, just the prep work with it. Just like right now with our school, they could, it's just easy to say use
Oh,
your
they
cell
can
phone. But
access their textbooks on their phone? Is that what you're saying?
no, other things like podcasts and different things like that. Maybe filming.
Well, they
for
can do that on a
school.
Chromebook, right?
Yes.
Right. There's right.
Thank you.
That's all we have.
That's wonderful.
Well, thank you all for your work. This is battling. That battle is a tough one to fight, and you guys are winning. I appreciate it.
And you're making a societal change. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about 5 years from now how much this is going to affect. I think it's going to be huge.
High school's next. Good.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you, guys. Go get ready for the last day. Okay. Superintendent contracts.
Okay, I have a couple here this evening. First is for the South Middle School Combi Oven. I just like saying that. I won't be able to describe it for you, but it's a really cool oven. This is for the oven itself and the installation. You can see we received 3 bids. Superintendent recommends that the board approve Trimark SS Kemp at a cost of $29,433.
Motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the award to Trimark SS Kemp, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Superintendent, consent.
All right, board members, on your consent agenda, if you would look at item M, please, I would like to pull that for individual consideration, simply due to the fact that St. Francis is one of our partners there, and that would give Mr. Berry the opportunity to recuse himself from that vote. So we'll do that after the consent agenda.
Okay.
So we'll take the full consent agenda with the exception of item N. So with that, superintendent recommends that the board approve the consent agenda minus item M to include item A, expenditures exceeding $3,000. Item B, the payment of salaries and accounts payable. Item C are our field experiences. Item D is the Settle and Stolniker engagement letter, our Gatsby agreement. Item E is Dr. Jonathan Pearl behavior blueprint agreement. Item F is the Keith Matheny behavior blueprint agreement. Item G is the Navigate 360 agreement renewal. Item H is the Curriculum Associates iReady and iReady Classroom agreement. Item I is our Panorama agreement renewal. Item J is the Marshall University waiver of fees. Item K are the minutes of your May 15th, 2024 agenda meeting. Item L is the Head Start COLA budget revision, and that will be it.
Okay, need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the consent agenda signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Superintendent?
All right,
I can just recuse myself for all of that. That's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we'll just take the whole.
Okay. Yeah, for item M, I'm going to recuse myself as an employee of St. Francis de Sales Central Catholic School.
Okay, superintendent recommends that the board approve the list of collaborative contracts presented to you in your executive file.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the collaborative contract signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Mr. Berry. Okay, moving on to board member updates.
Oh, yes, I do. A couple Fridays ago, it was right after our board meeting on the 17th of May, I went to the Mon County Art Show. Oh my gosh, what these students do at these, I didn't see anything from Clay Patel. I don't think Clay Patel had anything, but Morgantown High, University High, and it was like I walked into an art museum in New York City. I'm not exaggerating. These kids are so talented. I hope that they come here so we can recognize them. But the teachers that were involved, I want to give a shout out to them for Morgantown High, Sam Burnett, Christina Colombo, James Poff, Mike Velikoff, and Shayla Martin, and for University High, Kate Pino Velikoff, Paige Schwartz, and Haley Kennedy. They did an outstanding job. I mean, the students have natural talent, there's no doubt about it, but these teachers, you could tell, have really helped these students enhance their talent. And like I said, I thought I was walking into an art museum. And I want to thank WVU for allowing them to have the Creative Arts Center and use that as well. Just an impressive. I couldn't say enough. I'm going to shut up now, but I could go on and on. But they did a really nice job. We should really be proud of these students.
I just want to give a shout out to Karen Davis, Eastwood Elementary. I popped in on their science judging last Wednesday, I believe it was, and just kind of walked around and watched the presentations and everything. That's always a blast thinking. I mean, one of them was plants growing in freshwater versus salt water. How far will a balloon go before it runs out of, the thrust? And so I just wanted to thank her for allowing me to peek in on all of that as it was going on. It was a fun morning.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who worked on all the graduations. I thought they all went pretty well, and the students seemed to enjoy them. You know, we had MTech, University High, Morgantown High, and Clay Battelle, and the students and families were really thrilled. So it was a great weekend. So the other thing I wanted to do, I wanted to thank our business and community partners that worked on the committee with superintendent and others to support the building bond. I also wanted to thank everyone that supported the bond and voted in support of it. I would like to request and ask that DLR pay for a voter engagement poll so we could maybe get an idea of all the different ways that people that did not support this voting initiative and why, what were their top reasons. I've heard everything from, I thought it was a charter school because academy was in the name, to I didn't think my child would be able to go, which is everything that everybody did not say, but there just seemed to be a general air for some of confusion. The only thing everyone did seem to understand was their taxes were going to increase at some level. So I think that would be very helpful, especially to the next board as they decide how to move forward, because I do think as a board we voted to move forward with it because we all support, if you will, STEM tech, which is moving towards the future. I think a lot of some of our teachers and staff saw the ability to be able to grow in a different way and advance their careers and their knowledge and how we were going to be able to offer things to the students. I think that the ability to broaden our technical education offerings and marry them with high-level academics in, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is important. And I know in the past when we had a failed building initiative, we did have to go back and re-examine and find out how people felt about it and why. What were the obstacles? Because whether this goes now or this goes in 10 years, I think this is something that's going to happen in every area of the country in order for public education to be able to remain relevant and to help students to be able to grow and reach their potential in maybe careers they never thought of. So that is my question update, and want to be sure to thank everyone that worked really hard on this initiative. So.
Michael?
I did mine update.
Glad it didn't rain this weekend for all of those graduations.
Absolutely.
Mother Nature cooperated.
Or we didn't melt. That was the other truth.
It's close.
I think some of us did.
Okay, superintendent policy.
Before I do that, just a quick reminder, retirement dinner, June 4th, 6 p.m., the Mon County Center at Milan Park. If you have not communicated your attendance for that event with Teresa, please do so at your earliest convenience so she can get a head count for all the planning.
Same place as last year, right?
Same place as last year, yes, sir.
I will be there. That's quick, wasn't it?
Yes.
I already gave her the
Me
slip.
too.
You're very responsive this morning. All right, now we can jump into policy. So these are for second reading and adoption this evening. So as we did previously, I will read you the policy number and the title for the public so that they know what we're voting on. I am going to ask that item E be removed for the reason that Jennifer has notified me that we already have a change to that policy, and so we'll bring that, no sense adopting it and then changing it again. So we'll work on that change and we'll bring it back to you in the next set of policies that we look at it in the near future here. So item E will come off. All right, so if board members are ready, I will read through this long list of policies that for second reading and adoption. First is revised policy 0131, legislative. Item B is revised policy 2370.01, virtual instruction. Item C is revised policy 2460, special education. Item D, we will rescind policy 2510, adoption of instructional resources. Jennifer, let me ask clarification before I go on. Do we still want to rescind that, even though we're not enacting policy 2520, the next one? Or should we not rescind that until the future meeting?
Let me look at something
I just want to
here
make sure
real quick, just to
we
see.
don't not have the policy.
I think that one's actually incorporated in the next one, but let me double check here.
Okay. It's my fault. I should ask you earlier.
So it's actually incorporated, yes, in 2520. So is that the prior? Yes, so I guess we should keep that one in place.
Okay. All right, so board members, we'll pull off item D and E. Thank you, Jennifer. Item F is revised policy 2522, instructional resources, inspection, and right to file complaint. Item G is revised policy 3120.12, substitutes in areas of critical need and shortage. Item H is revised policy 3122.01, drug-free workplace. Item I is revised policy 3362, anti-harassment and violence. Item J is revised policy 4122.01, drug-free workplace. Item K is revised policy 4362, anti-harassment and violence. Item L is revised policy 5321, tuberculin skin test. Item M is replacement policy 5330, use of medications. Item N is the recension of policy 5330.02, self-administered medication and epinephrine use. Item O is revised policy 5780, student parent rights. Item P is revised policy 6320, purchases. Item Q is revised policy 6325, procurement, federal grants and funds. Item R is revised policy 7310, disposition of personal property. Item S is revised policy 7540.02, web accessibility, content, apps, and services. Item T is revised policy 7540.04, staff technology, acceptable use, and safety. Item U is revised policy 8330, student records. Item W is revised policy 8600, transportation. Item X is revised policy 9130, public complaints. And item Y is revised policy 9700.01, advertising and commercial activities. Superintendent recommends that the board approve the previous policies as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. I'll second them. Any questions or comments?
So were there any comments on any of these?
No.
And I'm gonna ask a weird question. You said V about the animals on county property, correct? I think that was through the list.
Dead or alive.
Did I miss one? Sorry.
I wasn't sure if I just,
Which number was it?
V.
I did, I missed it, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I would like to revise my amend my recommendation to add, was at the bottom of my page.
Yeah.
I thank you. Item V is the revised policy 8390, animals on county property. Good catch.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna amend it as is. I don't need any more information. What's, questions or comments other from the board?
She'll need to amend
No,
that.
it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna, small boards, we can do that. So,
Well, and I think we probably need to say these have been out for comment for,
yeah, all for good,
and these are mostly technical and legislative updates and changes.
Yes.
it reflects state law across the board. Okay. Hearing no other comments, all in favor of the policies as recommended and amended by the superintendent, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Superintendent.
Okay, let's turn our attention to personnel matters for this evening. First is our fiscal year 2025 salary schedules. Superintendent recommends that the board approve those salary schedules as presented in your executive file this evening.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
So can you explain the difference between the professional sub 1, 2, and 3?
Yes. Have a little cheat sheet. Okay, for the P sub 1, it is 80% of the state minimum. So that is for a sub, that is 0 days to 10 days in the same position. P sub 2 is 80% of the state minimum, but then they're paid for their degree level and years of experience. So 11 days to 30 days in the same position, they would be paid at a P sub 2. P sub 3 is our Mon County daily rate, and then they're paid on their degree level and years of experience with over 30 days in that same position.
Over 30 days, for our long-term subs, et cetera.
That is correct.
So my next question would be, just so people look these up and want to explain, understand how we work with principals and plus the number of teachers they have and how all that adds together. Because I guess my question was, the rest of the state does not necessarily have 261 principals, which I think people don't realize. That's
Right,
a
that
full
is
year.
correct.
And that, in Monongalia County, that is a decision that was made by the board eons ago. And especially with our summer programs, we need to have all those principals available. And then our assistants have varying days in some of the other positions. And then there's a different level for how many teachers you have, correct? So how all that, does that add together?
So they're paid on their degree level and years of experience, and then they are paid based on, it's called the principal's increment pay, and that is the one chart, and that's based on the state minimum. And then we do provide supplements for our principals and assistant principals. So that is factored on a 261-day contract, and one of the supplements is only on a 200-day contract.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of the fiscal year 25 salary schedule signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Superintendent?
All right, our first personnel list, you have in your executive content. The superintendent recommends that the board approve the personnel list as presented with no changes.
I need a motion.
Second.
Questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all in favor of the personnel list as presented signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Superintendent?
Okay, we are down to new positions. I am going to ask for 2 new positions this evening. The first of those is a grade 6 through grade 12 science specialist at 215 days full-time. Will be paid for with state funds, a full-time position. And the second position is grade 6 through 12 social studies specialist at 215 days, again full-time, to be paid for out of state funds at a +1 full-time person. Superintendent recommends that the board approve those 2 positions as presented.
So
Need a
moved.
motion? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Do we have a destination for these yet?
Meaning,
Where they're gonna go?
well, if we can fit them in here, we'll start here because that's where our math and English people are. But we're also looking at how we can utilize the Pierpont building as well, because these are curriculum instruction folks, and so they'll be doing professional development, working directly with staff, and we think there's some space there that we can use for training.
How often are they directly in the schools, working directly with the teachers as opposed to?
Don't know how often our folks out in the buildings.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
They're in our schools, and that's the design of this. And again, it's middle and high school, and there is time, of course, set aside for them to have training and for them to be able to plan for training with our teachers. So it is, easily back and forth. We already have the examples with our ELA and our math. This completes the 4 content areas. And adds a lot to the support to our teachers, and we've seen that through the math and the ELA.
These are 215-day
Well, that's the same as what the others are. And again, this is funding that is designated to support teachers. So it's not taking a teaching position away from someone else. It is designated as funds that you must use or you should use for teachers to be building their own capacity.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor of the new positions as presented signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Superintendent?
All right. You do have before you a personnel list addendum. Superintendent recommends that the board approve the addendum with no changes.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the personnel list addendum signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Anything else for the good of the board? Hearing nothing else, the next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held Tuesday, June 11th, 2024 at 6 o'clock here in the boardroom. Adjourned.
Thank you, board members.
Okay, Miss Donna, I got questions for you.